Okay. Fingers crossed. Facebook work. Because it's been temperamental this week. All right, let's check here on the phone. Okay, I think we're live. I think we are in business. Let me just double check here. Yes. Okay, cool. Yay. Hi, everybody. Okay, let's do this, shall we? Just looking at these ladies for a moment while I get excited. So welcome everybody to Goddess Jam Sessions. My name is Maria Leandra, and it is my absolute privilege to bring you this weekly show that I created about 5 weeks ago, and it happens every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And every week I aim to bring on an incredible woman or group of women, a panel of goddesses that I know that are dear to my heart, that are showing up in big, powerful ways in the world. And we talk about our intuition. We talk about moving through the world with that beautiful creatrix energy that we can harness, that helps us approach things that are unknown and take beautiful leaps of faith and really design our lives with intention and live lives by design rather than by default. And as I was prepping for this week's episode, I had this sudden, very inspired, beautiful moment where I thought, oh my God, I got to bring back my ladies from the Rock Your Life Mastermind 2019 group. And this is a portion of that. We're missing 3 other incredible women who are hopefully watching. Hi, guys. And it's my absolute privilege and honor to introduce them to you guys today. And we're going to have a conversation around the leaps that they've taken, because these are all visionary women who have really gone from like dreaming up things that maybe at once they thought were kind of like out of the scope of what they could create, just like me. And then they made decisions to really step into their vision and create incredible things, and also have their moments of very real self-doubt and their moments of very real, like all the things. These are moms who are balancing hashtag all the things. And so this is going to be a really, 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 really powerful conversation. It's an absolute privilege to have you guys on. So welcome. I'm going to read their bios in a second so you get to know their official. Me reading your bios, you guys, I'm having like several moments. So first, welcome, say hi, and then we'll get into the official business.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody. So we have Paola, Dawn, Jennifer, and Connie. And again, it's something that blew my mind. This was probably like 30 minutes before we sat here. I was doing my makeup and I had a thought. I was like, oh my gosh, I think it's exactly or almost exactly a year ago since we had our very first group call on Zoom. And oh boy, have things changed and evolved for all of us. And I looked at my calendar, and the first call we had was actually on May 16th, 2019. Today's May 14th, so just 2 days shy. And I didn't plan that. Like, I didn't go, you know what? I'm going to have the Rock Your Life ladies on Goddess Jam Sessions to celebrate our 1-year anniversary. But of course, you cannot make stuff up. Hey, Tam, I'm so glad that you're watching. Hi. And Jessica's watching too. Hi. Jessica's also part of our mastermind. Love you. Yay. All right. So we'll read bios. We'll do some Palo Santo, and then we'll get this juicy conversation going. All right. First up, we have Connie Hoffman. Love this girl. She is a mom, wife, podcast host, insurance agent, and a financial coach, which was a dream that was birthed very recently. Very exciting. Excited to hear more about that. Growing up as the youngest of 5 to a single mom, she's learned how to stretch a dollar, but what she didn't learn was how to manage her money. And it always seemed like money was coming in, but it never stayed. And what this happened, and what I love about Connie's story, and she's very real when it comes to her own journey, her own relationship with money, and what she's doing now as a financial coach is she's bringing that deep understanding of how it affected her and what she turned around in her life, and now is getting even more well-versed in how she can support others and really doing the same for theirs. So it's her vision to create a world where people are educated with the basics of finances, and she wants to support them to take control of their money and stop letting it control them. She lives her vision by helping others get clean with their finances and shift their relationship with money. Welcome, Connie.
Thank you.
I love you.
I love you.
And then let's talk about Paola Rodriguez. Paola is an entrepreneur, a world traveler, a foodie, wife, and mom of 2 boys. She is the founder of Unique World Crafts, a company that empowers artisans around the world and serves as the bridge between them and the US market. She loves to surround herself with beauty, create unique handmade accessories, and wear lipstick. There it is. She's a true believer in the unimaginable, and she is a true believer in the unimaginable. That's a power phrase right there. She helps women step into their power to see possibilities, to live their dreams, and take a stand for them, to tap into their beauty and love themselves. She's a host of the Language of Beauty show, where speakers share their wisdom on finding a woman's unique style to feel confident, free, and empowered to take over the world. Another just shining, bright light, incredible woman. Paola. Yes, that's her. Then let's talk about Dawn Byrne. Dawn Byrne, the magical goddess who quantum leapt. Like, Dawn is somebody that once you get to know her, you're like, is this woman for real? She must have come from some other dimension. Everybody's nodding like, And Dawn's just sitting there like, I'm just Dawn. It's just me. Dawn is an artist, entrepreneur, and an intuitive painter. She has a twofold goal: to raise awareness about the work of artists for its value to our human evolution. Artists do the introspective work of seeking clarity, balance, and wholeness in times of transformation. They often precipitate change, and the other part is to offer women, although the opportunity is there for men as well, always, insight into their own unlimited source of empowerment through creativity. This is not simply about making art, although art is the artifact of the work. Intuitive painting in Dawn's painting practice is an access point to stillness for clarity and insights that are hallmark of creativity. In this work, art mirrors life. The practice of this creative form that Dawn has invested herself in to understand reveals a struggle or resistance of humanity within the release or flow of nature that is our human experience to get to know. And what does this mean for our daily life? Dawn offers a practice to access your own self-fulfillment that is not outer referenced, and the balance to keep you centered amidst the challenges of life. And Dawn is also a future author. She has a manuscript that she's completed, and you can tell based on this delicious bio, like, this bio is a poem. It's not a bio. I said, send me your bio, not send me your poem. Glad you sent me the poem instead. This is beautiful. And then we have the amazing, incredible, mindful mama herself, Jennifer Traynor. Jennifer is a certified yoga teacher who specializes in gentle vinyasa flow and restorative yoga. She also hosts workshops related to meditation, yoga, self-care, and wellness. Jennifer is a mental health advocate, particularly women's mental health, as she has struggled with depression on and off for several years. Practicing yoga has played an instrumental part on her road to healing. Jennifer runs Mindful Yoga Moments, a small yoga and mindfulness business based in Ontario, Canada. Her goal is to use it as a platform to bring her passion and knowledge of yoga and mindfulness to others, teaching them how to bring both into their daily lives and help them develop a practice of their own that they feel comfortable with. Jennifer also strives to help other women who struggle with mental health on a healing journey of their own by providing support through yoga and mindful meditation. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you.
You're amazing. Yes, yes, you are. All right, let's get to it. So while I'm doing little Palo Santo here, if anybody wants to chime in with, start sharing, like, when you saw my email to do this, did you get excited? What did you feel? Did you get little butterflies?
I think we only took like half a second to reply. Yes, I'm in.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
pretty much.
I think that's our catchphrase always. I'm in.
Yeah, right?
Little
Yep.
hands up
The
emoji.
hands up emoji.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to give you guys a little bit of background into how we all came together. So all of these amazing ladies jumped in and enrolled into the Rock Your Life Mastermind, which is my, highest level one-on-one plus group coaching experience that I offer. And that's really for the visionary woman who's like ready to step up her game at a different level, right? So good. Feel that energy settle in. And so they all enrolled. And like I said earlier, we started in May 2019, and it was an 8-month journey of both their individual, like emerging and blossoming and going through their transformation, and also as a collective, because I coached each of them. We co-created individually what they wanted to make happen. And then as a group, we masterminded together, we trained together, we met together, we had a retreat at the end of the experience, and we shared in messaging, app where we were basically like together every day, sharing something that was going on in their lives, the breakdowns, the breakthroughs, and all the beautiful stuff in between. And so that little like hands up emoji became our go-to, because anytime somebody had something like happening, it was like, we're in, let's do it. I would put them on challenges, like all the things. So
Stretches.
yeah, stretch. Yeah. It was good. So let's get into, and this is whoever wants to chime in. I'd love for you guys to define what taking a leap means for you.
This is the excitement of it. Taking a leap is actually taking a stand for yourself and just totally believing. And it's the most wonderful feeling you can have, because it is letting go of your fears, breaking through the lifelong conditioning, and it is so freeing.
All right, so that's our show.
Joining Goddess Jam. I was gonna say, like, okay.
Thank you for joining Goddess Jam Sessions. I'll see you next week.
What she said, exactly that.
Beautiful. Anybody else?
I was gonna say that for me, it was about getting comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Tell us more about that. Tam says juicy. I just want to say we're getting some love, ladies. Jessica says hi, love you. Valerie says hi. Danielle says hi, she's watching. Hi. And Tam says juicy. Tam knows. Tam knows. Yeah. So yeah, keep going, Jennifer. Keep going. That was good.
Well, for me, I stepped into getting my yoga teacher certification. I don't want to say on a whim, but I had been laid off, didn't really have anything else going on, and I have a passion for yoga. I saw the opportunity, it really piqued my curiosity, and I went for it, having no expectation whatsoever that 6 months later, when I was done, that I would actually teach yoga. Like, I just figured, no, this is great. I'll get more in touch with my yoga practice. I'll deepen it. This will be like good personal experience for me. And literally before my last day, I was like, all right, when can I start teaching? Let's get going. And even the thought of teaching was uncomfortable in a way, because the idea of standing in front of people, instructing them to do a yoga class just felt nerve-wracking for me. But there was something about stepping out of that comfort zone. I could have just shied away and kept all that knowledge to myself from my own personal practice. There's something stepping into that unknown and into an area that I was not completely sure or comfortable in, that was exhilarating. It felt very freeing and therapeutic. And it was a huge life lesson for me, because I've always been somebody that's held back. And I've always thought, certain dreams, certain aspirations, that's just not for me, because it's too risky. It's too big of a leap. I can't do that. I don't know what came over me, but something came over me a little over a year ago that made me say, no, it's time to jump head first, right into the deep end.
Yeah.
So.
I remember so clearly, because when I did the Rock Your Life show last year, you were very active in the group. Like, your energy was very, very powerful. And I remember you so crystal clearly from the beginning, because you had this conviction, you had this like fire. It was like, and I remember it was coming from this place of like, I get to go here. I get to go to this place that I haven't gone before. I get to show myself what's possible, because, and I remember a conversation you and I had where you were like, you know what? I haven't given myself like crazy chances like this so many times that I don't want this to be one of those other times when I'm like, oh, I didn't go for this, that my intuition and my heart felt was true, even if it sounded crazy, even if it sounded like total leap out into the unknown. So I commend you, because you were like, leap after leap after leap after leap and going through really tough things, which, you know, we'll get into a little bit later. I want you to share some of the stuff you've moved through. But yeah, like it's very, very powerful what you've created.
I remember that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually probably about 2 months before we started the group sessions.
Yes.
We had some
yes.
juicy conversations for a good couple months before
yes.
we officially.
Yeah, because you hopped on right away. Like you hopped on right after we wrapped up Rock Your Life. Mm-hmm. Paola or Connie?
So I think that what that means for me is saying yes, like that big yes of just jumping in and going after that calling, like what you were mentioning, like that intuition and just going with it. It doesn't matter if there's fear, if there's uncertainty, if there is like, I don't know if this is going to work or not. I don't know if this is the right thing to do or not, but it's just something that pulls you forward and you just got to do it. It's one of those things that it just calls you and you got to do it. And in my case, I had all these things that I don't know if this is the time. I had just given birth to a baby, and it was all the things happening at the same time that would otherwise tell me like, no, maybe later, maybe next time, maybe this is not the moment. But what I was feeling was so strong that I said, this is the moment for me to step in and say yes, like this big yes to myself. Yeah. And that, of course, showed up everywhere else, you know, with my husband, with my kids, and at my job and everything else. And then that big leap led to just like big steps, bold steps that even though there was fear and there was this unknown part of it, it was like we got used to it. We got used to taking risks. We got used to like, oh yeah, this is scary, so I'm going for it. You know, like it felt a bit like exhilarating, but it was so good.
Yeah.
And liberating at the same time.
Yeah. And you're right. It does become more familiar. Like the more you leap, the more it becomes like, okay. And then when you go back in retrospect and you're like, oh, wow, I made that decision. Wait, when? And you're like, oh yeah, you know, it doesn't, you know what I mean? It's like, it becomes like this thing you kind of forget, like how big it was at the time, because then you keep moving through and flowing into bigger and better and more profound things for yourself. So yeah, I love that. And Connie.
So, I mean, pretty much everything else everybody said, but.
And yes,
yeah, and,
dot.
And, like, it's just for me, like having that, like such intuitive knowing that like, you know, that you would kick yourself in the butt later if you said no. Like just knowing. And that was exactly like when I signed up for Rock Your Life, like that was it. Like, I was like, everything, just like Paola said, like everything is telling me no, but this is a yes. Like, you know, like, and it just like one thing after the other, like, you know, your ego tells you no. Like, it's like, no, stay safe, stay here, don't do it. Like, you know, you can't, don't, you know, and you're just like, but I know there's something there. Like, I know it. And that's just, you know, just doing it anyway, just going for it anyway, because that's just, you know, you're not going to know unless you do it. And do you want to live a life full of regrets? So
I was getting like chills when you were saying that. When you guys, and I love to hear from any of you, but when you have those moments of that like choice point, like that, okay, do I go, or what, define not only what it feels like, but what compels you to move forward, and what have you learned about yourself the more you lean in and go forward? Like, how do you know, like capital K, no, you know, the big no.
I think it's definitely the intuition. Like, you just feel it in your gut, you know, it's right. And
elaborate. What would you say to someone, to a woman out there who's like, wow, I have all these feelings, but I'm not quite sure what my intuition feels like. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I still go through that. I'm currently going through that now. Where I'm like, I have all these different things and I'm like, wait, which one's the right one? And it's just, really, to me, it's just one thing that you've taught us, if anything, is to make your decisions from a place of vision, not a place of circumstance. So for me, that's the biggest, like, that's always my go back. Like, I'm always like, okay, like, what is my vision? Is this aligned?
Mhm.
Is this what I want to do? And if it's a yes,
It's a yes.
just go for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what we're doing now.
Yeah. And there's always that element of, I mean, taking a leap by default, a leap into the unknown, there's that element of you just don't know. And it may work, it may not work. And yet, what are you willing to, are you willing to be in that space? So, like you said earlier, Connie, like, if I don't do this, am I going to regret it so much that then I'm like, wow, in that moment, I could have gone there. I think that's really powerful as we train ourselves. And I think it's a muscle that we build over time. The mastering the art of taking the leaps. And then it's not just the one leap, it's lots of leaps, little ones and big ones and medium-sized ones. And so, yeah.
Every day.
And I found too that intuition gets stronger the more you get still with it.
Yes.
It's a really important point that it starts with this getting to know yourself. So that takes some time. And then through that, you get to recognize your patterns, your ways of thinking that continually have you make the same sort of choices in all the different areas of your life. So it's getting still to know where your patterns are in your thinking so that you can address where those shifts need to be. And I really resonated too with what Connie was saying about just, we all had like it was a group nod, and I'm trying to remember exactly what you said. And I think that might have been where Maria Leandra was having the chills too, where we're thinking about, because I always do this too. I have this vision of when I am older, looking back on my life, and I see the moment and I'm smiling because I know that I made all the decisions for my highest good and potential. I didn't make it based on those fear choices like you were saying before. It was based on what is feeding this, what is feeding the soul, rather than all the outer reference things.
I mean, what can we say after Dawn speaks?
I mean, again, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. I love it.
I mean, I think making decisions from a place of fear of like, what if it doesn't work, or from scarcity, or from like this energy of fear, then it doesn't feel right. But if you make that decision from a place of, I get to grow, I get to learn, I get to stretch, so it's more of like this expansion and this possibility. And so that's how I can, like in my case, I can differentiate between this is not a good decision, or this is something that I get to step in, even if I have that fear of, I don't know what's going to happen, I don't know how it's going to work. But if it's for growth and if it's for expansion and aligned with my vision, then it's a yes.
Yeah. And I just want to make a quick point there, because you say something that I speak into a lot, is the more we understand how to discern between our intuitive knowing and what is fear, because fear can dress up as, oh, I know this isn't right for me. Because fear it's like what do they say in Sex and the City? Like a squirrel is a rat with a cute outfit, something like that is what Carrie says. It's kind of the same thing. It's like fear dressed up as an intuitive knowing of like, no, I know this isn't right for me, actually, which is against that like leaping energy, that like, okay, I know there's an unknown here that's calling me forth. You kind of contract into this, and you think it might be pulling you in the other direction, when actually it's an element of fear that's holding you back and holding you held in safety. So yeah, it's a good one to bring up. And then Jennifer, what about you?
It's I mean, just kind of echo what these ladies have said. It's about trusting your intuition. but it's also about being mindful and compassionate with yourself as well. Dawn touched upon, it takes practice. It takes getting to know yourself better. And it's also about being honest with yourself. One thing I discovered when I made the decision to take that chance was that in the past, I hadn't been honest with myself. I just talked myself out of situations because it was safe and it was that comfort zone. And in this case, I thought about it, and in my head I was going, oh my God, are you crazy? This is like unstable paycheck, no benefits. This is really the time to be taking risks. But in my heart, it was just like, I could talk myself out of it again, but it just did not feel right. And clearly I had gotten to a point where I had gotten to know myself, to know my intuition well enough to say, okay, screw you, get away. It's time to stop listening to that chitter chatter and start having faith. So yeah, it was a lot about like just trust and being honest with myself, because I knew that despite how freaking scared I was, I just could not take the chance at doing something I knew was going to truly make me very happy.
Yeah.
And just make no regrets.
I so resonate with that. Yeah. What do you guys feel about the phrase? And this is something that we also talked about in the group and individually, is the whole like leap off the plane and then sew the parachute as you're flying down, as you're falling down. What do you guys, when you think about that? Because I think there's a point, especially with us ambitious women, where we tend to lean so much into perfectionism and so much into having things look a certain way and the timing be right and having whatever we think the resources are that we need to have in place, the time, the money, the support from someone else, like whatever that may be for whatever leap. And we may not have those things, but we still choose to leap and actually create that along the way. So it's this even next level leap of faith that says, I'm not sure how this is going to work, and yet I trust that it will, and that I have the capability to figure it out. Like I have the capability to put the pieces of my parachute together very beautifully while I go. So what does that make you? How does that make you guys feel, and how does it relate to your own journey?
In my case, I think that's how Rock Your Life started. That was my very first step of saying yes and getting to figure it out, in the while I was going, because I had this calling, but I didn't have clarity on my vision. And so with this phrase, it was like just jump and hold on to that vision, hold on to the result. Even if you don't know exactly how it's going to look like, but just think that everything's going to work out and have faith that everything will start coming to you. And it's so magical that the minute you say yes, it's like all the doors start opening, all the things start working. It's like when you have a whole bunch of doors in front of you and you don't see them. And the minute you say yes, it's like it's clear and you see all the doors and you see all the things just coming to you. And the minute, like when you haven't made the decision, it's hard to believe. But when you trust and you just look at that vision and you hold on to that, then everything else starts showing up.
And I find so much truth in that too. This week I had very similar saying resonating for me. And it was about that flying and building the plane, or, doing the parachute thing at the same time. And what I found lately is that it's really a counterintuitive thing that we do. And we think it's counterintuitive because we've been taught the other way. But really, it's the most natural thing in the world if you a bigger picture. And so it's reframing our thinking to get there, and then realizing that it's such an easier way to do things.
Yeah.
It's that trust again.
I love that awareness of actually that's how it's supposed to be. We just have been taught otherwise. Like that's a massive paradigm shift right there. Imagine if we lived our life like that, like how much things would shift for us and the people around us. Yeah.
It would kill the analysis paralysis.
That's for sure.
Exactly.
That was what I was going to say, is that, like, you know, for me, it's if I don't just jump and trust the process and like trust that everything's gonna figure itself out. I'm an analyzer. I will literally sit there all day long and analyze the crap out of it and not make a move because I want everything to look perfect. And that keeps me from doing anything, like literally. And I have lost opportunities because I've sat on them for so long.
Mm.
And, you know, it's just remembering that, like, you don't have to have it all figured out. Like, you know, that you don't have to have all the details. Like, you just need the important ones, the ones that matter, and that you're not going to die, and then just jump and just hope, you know, do it, build it up.
I just lived this same experience recently. I think it was the 8th. Was your birthday on the 8th?
Yeah, it was.
Yes, it was the 8th. And it just happened to be that same day
that day was magical. So I'm not surprised.
It was a magical day. Yeah. I pushed send on my decision finally to take early retirement. So I did it because I thought,
way to go.
It's counterintuitive. I'm giving up the security and that paycheck, but it's like release and relief, and I get to be the artist.
That is amazing.
Dawn. I honor you for that choice. That is beautiful. Yeah. You get to be the artist. Say that again.
I get to be the artist.
Oh. Everybody take a breath.
Chills.
We've been talking about this for a year.
I know.
Yeah. We've got some applause in the chat.
You know what you guys were talking about though? Because you were just talking about that, how analyze. And I had actually wanted to do for March, and I had all the reasons. I was doing pros and cons and lists and this and that, and I made it work. It was too much work. And then I thought, no, I can't do it, because I listened to all the numbers on the paper, and it does not work on paper. And then I let it go. I accepted that this wasn't happening for me now. I was going to plan on 2 years from now when it would be safer. And then all of a sudden, it was like, it felt right. I didn't have to rationalize it. I didn't have to make a list. It was just, this is what we're doing now. And everything flowed very easily from there. I talked to nice people on the phone. They answered my questions. I put in the information, and it just flowed.
What a leap to celebrate. Danielle says, congratulations. You got sprinkles and stars and applause and stuff in the chat. So we're all celebrating with you. Thank you for blessing the space with that news. Like, that's really, really, really cool that you shared it here with us. Thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And again, that's a wrap. That's too good. It's too good. It's too good. Anybody else would want to share? What were we talking about? I forgot. That news was so epic. The parachute thing.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and again, Connie, I love that you bring up the, heavy analysis paralysis and what it means for you, because I resonate with that very deeply. You know that you and I have had lots of conversations around that. And for me, the pivotal thing that there's lots of things that have shifted in my self-mastery journey over the past few years, but that one was so critical because I was holding myself back in so many ways, because I was afraid that if I didn't get it perfect, there was all these outdated beliefs that were holding me in a state of, it's not going to be good enough, and I won't be capable enough, and what will they say? And, this having to prove myself time and time and time again. And once I released that grip on this sort of external, very large gremlin that seemed to always like attack me, like whenever I wanted to do something. I became freedom is what's on the other side of that, which is, I think that the definition of personal freedom is to be in that space of exploration, of discovery, of trying new things, of not being held back by the beliefs of what somebody else might say, do, think, not say, whatever, and just keep moving forward. So, yeah. I had another question that I forgot. Would anybody like to ask anything?
Well, you had a post the other day that really resonated because you talked about how many of us do have that feeling that there's something more. But the difference is, like for you with your story, you had that clear, you did something with it early. So we have that feeling of there's something more, I'm not fulfilled, what is it? But you seemed like that was your journey, like you figured it out fairly soon. And
well,
then
early is relative. Early is relative because I mean, I spent 16 years in corporate having for most of those years that same feeling of I know I'm meant for something more. I know I'm not meeting my full potential. And yet thinking that who was I to complain about my whatever I was moving through? It just felt like this deep. It wasn't just like, oh, I need more. It was about money. It wasn't about power. It was about voice. It was about, I knew there was I knew there was something brewing in me that had I had a much bigger voice. I knew I had a calling to impact other people. And then of course the voices come in and it's like, well, who do you think you are to impact other people? And yet as I started my own journey and took my own leaps of faith and started really understanding and knowing what I was capable of when I stood powerfully for others like you guys, I was hearing the same stories. I was hearing like conversation after conversation of, wow, I know I'm meant for something more and I really want to impact the world in some beautiful way. Like that was from the beginning, this incredibly precious common thread that all of you guys had collectively. And it really showed me, wow, these visionary women aren't just here to like have a side gig or like make a, job or just become entrepreneurs because they want to make that cheddar, which is great. I'm all about the money. Let's make the money so that we can make a bigger impact. And that's not what's at the core of the desire. The desire is to level up your life, the life of your family, the life of your community, the world ultimately. So I found myself in that space of like, wow, these women are everywhere and we're all caught by the same friggin' beliefs. And what if we could shift and move through those? What if we could dissolve them in such a way that they wouldn't get in the way? Power. But and thank you for like it that it has sort of the impression that it was fast. I think for me, I like to use a metaphor of bamboo. So bamboo takes, like when you plant a bamboo, it takes like 3 years underground, like while it's doing its thing. And then one day after, I think it's like 3 to 5 years, depending on the type of bamboo, it starts to poke out from the ground and then it shoots up. And in like 90 days, no joke, you have like a full grown bamboo. So I felt in my experience that there was this moment of bloom, this moment of like crack open. But when I look back, I can see the breadcrumbs of everything that I had been cultivating thus far. So many moments that I then like, okay, I could weave them together. And I'm sure you guys, you're nodding because you feel it too. And I'm sure anybody who's watching is like, yes, I feel that. I feel that. Because then you look back and you're like, oh. And you realize that you have so much more than you thought, like so much more kind of figured out. But there was a moment that you needed to catalyze that. There was a moment that you needed to have that like that launch, that spark of like, here I go. So yeah, that's what it feels like for me.
I connect with that, what you're saying, because I think that moment that catalyzes where there is some key thing that you recognize it, and that recognition is that movement.
Yes.
Had it,
Yeah.
haven't we?
And there is an inherent leap in that moment.
Mhm.
There is I say it's like the choice point. It's like a before and after key moment. And the thing is that when I'm talking to someone and I'm moving them into their vision of what's possible, I can feel it. Like I could feel it for each and every one of you, even when all the very normal objections came in, because they're the same that I have: the money, the time, the am I ready for this, the what will my husband say, the big one, what will my husband say. Oh, Dawn was like, oh, I have my son, he's going to go to college. And I remember I told you, Dawn, I said, so on the one hand you have your son, and on the other hand you have your son, and what are you modeling for him? A mom who's like, I'm just going to dial myself back, or a mom who's like, I'm going to grow into the woman I know I'm meant to be and show him what's possible.
Mhm.
And those are the moments when we stand in that energy that it's like, oh, and I can like feel it, like when you're, and because all of you impact people also in the same way, that's part of the ripple effect that we all get to create together. So it's like this catalyst moment of, and it takes a lot of courage to take that like jump. Because otherwise then what happens? Like, can you guys imagine if you hadn't gone through this journey, this conversation right now, what would you be doing? You're all like, no, thank you.
No way. No way. No.
Like, but like seriously,
No.
what would be happening right now in your lives?
Well, Paola, you said it too, that the leaps got easier. And I've been thinking exactly about what you said. Like, where would we have been? I've been thinking about that. Like every day I keep thinking, if I didn't do this, this wouldn't have happened, and then this wouldn't have happened, and this wouldn't have happened. And then I keep thinking, I'm glad I did all those things. I'm looking at where we are now and thinking, oh, I so appreciate every decision.
Yeah. And here's the thing, it has nothing to do, the way I see it has nothing to do with me. It's an honor for me to be part of the catalyst, part of that like portal moment for you guys, but it's really more of you resonating. Your like soul was resonating with a certain level of like, this gets to happen right now, and that's just the way it's gonna be. And so it drew you to the experiences, the conversations, the interview series, the email, the whatever it was that you were like, bing, like something, because your soul had that like knowing. And so I got to be like the catalyst and part of the journey. But it's really when we say that the leap part, that big yes part, it's a yes. Like Dawn said way at the beginning, it's a yes to yourself. It's a yes to yourself. And that's the moment. And whatever it is that you join, or whatever it is that you do, or whatever it is that the tangible thing is, it's like a vehicle for it. Right. So it's like, what you guys experienced was just a massive like before and after. How do I get to say yes to myself more powerfully than I have before? And then that just like doors just open, and you see things differently.
Yeah, I think it would be full of regrets and like, what if I would have said yes? What if, where would I be now if I would have said yes? If I would have taken the risk, if I would have started my business, if I would have launched my, whatever it is that we have created during this time. And when we don't take those steps, or like in my case, when I was in corporate for 10 years, also wanting to do something else, wanting to quit and not doing it, every year I would be like, another year and I'm still here, another year and I'm still in the same situation, another year. And so what's going to happen? Like nothing changes, but I feel this thing inside, this calling, and I'm not doing anything about it. So I think that's how I would be feeling if, if I wouldn't have said yes.
Yeah.
So it's
what about, what you're saying is so good. And what about when we tell ourselves the phrase, oh, maybe it's just not my time yet?
Yeah.
Did you guys tell yourselves that before? Because I told myself that a lot. It's like, you know what? I have all these things and I feel like my heart wants to do, but maybe it's just not my time.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that's putting ourselves last.
Yeah.
like really last.
It's like a way to soothe that part of us that has that fire.
Yeah.
It's like it's fine. It's fine. It's just not your time. You know, like it's okay. Calm down. Calm down. But it'll come back because it's called calling for a reason, because it's not going to stop calling until you answer it.
And you know what? I think, yeah, it gets louder. It gets stronger.
Thank you, Connie. Yes.
And it's like until you get that really bad slap in the face where it's like, okay, you got to go. Like, you got to do it. And that could look like, you know, in many ways, like either you lose your job or something happens with your health, or, you know, like those moments in which you're just like forced, quote unquote, forced to do something, to take a leap, to take a risk, to just do it. So I think, you know, it's just when you have that calling, when you have that, like, knowing that intuition is telling you to do it, is better to do it right away.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
And that calling feeling is that common underlying thing that we've all, you know, that's gotten us kind of out of whatever shell it was. And then Maria Leandra, when you were talking about the vehicle, like that resonates so much, because it's like we each are meeting a similar need, but we're driving the different vehicle to deliver that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Jennifer's got yoga, and, you know, like there's all these different vehicles that we're
Yes. And the common denominators are all about empowerment, helping others tap into their truth, clarity,
joy.
Let me ask, joy.
Joy.
Yes.
That's what it was about for me, because for so many years, and then going back to that comfort zone thing, for so many years, I stayed in that comfort zone. I was so miserable. I was really unhappy. And so then, like a little over a year ago, I find myself unemployed, on one salary, bills to pay, kids to feed, and going, you know what? I'm going to start a business. I'm going to teach yoga. And
it sounds like a great idea.
You can look at me and say, are you insane? Like, are you crazy? But what it came down to was I finally discovered, well, I want to say open my eyes to, because I think it was always there. I just never really opened my eyes to it. I was like, you know what? It is time to put joy into my life. It is time to make my happiness a priority. It's time to put me higher up on that list. Yes, I need to be responsible. Yes, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I have responsibilities, I have things that I need to take care of. But what good am I if I just go to some other meaningless job again, where I just feel like a robot and I'm completely miserable and unhappy? And what, to earn a really good paycheck and get some benefits?
Preach.
Right? I mean, I had been doing it for 18 years. I was done.
Preach.
That's beautiful.
I was done. And it was just about, all right, it is time to put joy at the top of my list. And this sparks joy for me, and I'm doing it. And
bam.
You know what? We have to make financial adjustments. So be it. It's not forever.
Yeah.
And that's it. I was just fed up. It took getting fed up to say, it's time to put my happiness first, instead of putting it on hold and saying, later, I'll do this later. I don't want to be 80 years old and going, why did I wait?
Sister, yes.
Yeah, I think it's like, you know, what you're saying, Jen, it's like you get tired of playing small. It's like you get tired of just being so mediocre, or just like, just going with the flow and just being there and not creating anything. And the minute you move yourself, the minute you step in, you start seeing the ripple effect. And you start seeing how things start shifting around.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's...
You know the movie The Holiday? Do you know? Okay. Do you know the scene where Kate Winslet is in the restaurant with, I forget the gentleman's character's name, but the old guy that she befriends. And he's talking to her about her life. And she says, I should be the lead actress in my own story. I cannot tell you how many times that line from that movie has stuck with me. And every time I watch that movie, I love it. I watch almost every year. I do like a hell yes, because it took me forever to realize, what the hell? Why aren't I the lead actress in my own story? Why am I playing like some background character? Enough. This is my life.
Go, Jen. Go,
So
Jen.
yes,
Light the fire. Light the fire.
The fire
what-
coming up in her.
The-
this is what I tell.
The
this is
sparks
what
are
I
coming
tell
out. She's
other-
like,
This is what I.
I
this is
love
what
this
would
Jen,
tell
by the
other
way.
women.
I love this Jen.
Yeah, we all love this.
This is what I tell other women: is stop fading into the background. Start shining your own light. Let
Yeah.
the world see it.
Tam says, hashtag all the feels. I should be the lead actress in my own story. Like that line, that is like, that should be the thing that we have on our, you know, in our fridge, in our mirror every morning, or the fridge. That works
So
too.
we should probably have it in the fridge.
In the fridge as well, next to
Fridge.
the cheese and the Moscato.
Yes.
While you're in there.
When you
Definitely-
open the fridge, I am the lead actress in my movie. I am the lead actress in my movie. Like, just like that. Danielle says, love that. Also, I want to go back to another comment. Jessica Campbell. Hi, Jessica. Thanks for watching. She says, it makes me feel like you move from leaping to flying. That's why the leaps get easier. Yeah. She was commenting on the leaps before. So the lead actress in your movie, Jen dropped it like it's hot. Quotable moment from Goddess Jam Sessions. Jessica says, make a magnet for the fridge. Jen, you know,
Yeah.
little mindful
Make a
yoga
magnet.
moments, branding.
Make a magnet for the fridge. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. It's good. It's good.
Everything.
Nice t-shirt, you know. What do you guys think about the power of community? Since you guys grown to love and connect with each other without knowing each other, we became so close over the period of time. What do you guys think about the power of community when you're leveling up?
That was my year of intention. I named it community, and that's, you know, you guys.
Yeah, I remember when you told me that. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm a firm believer with it takes a village, and you know, it's the community that's gonna make it. And yeah, I mean, just with everything that I've been through in the past year, I can tell you that if it wasn't for a community and people supporting me and uplifting me and, you know, talking me off a ledge or pushing me off of the ledge so that way I actually really take that leap, I probably, like, when you ask the question, like, where would we be if we didn't say yes to ourselves, like say yes to this journey, like I'd be stuck in analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
Same analysis that I was in a year ago. Like it's just having somebody to, you know, to push you and, you know, love you, but also like call you on your crap when, you know, you're stuck in that situation. Like that's the hugest thing that's been beneficial for me.
Yeah. And I want to shine a light on how pivotal it is. Like these transformative leap yes to yourself moments are not just like whims. That's not just like something cute that you do because it sounds like fun. Like these are very clear before and after moments that impact every aspect of your lives. Like when you can see the trajectory of what has been created and you see the impact that it's had on your partner, your partners, your colleagues, your children, your, you know, whoever is in your life and close to you, and the ripple effect that you can have moving forward. And even unintentionally, people just can't help but see something powerful and level up when they're in the presence of someone who's modeling that for them, which I think is what's so powerful, that we get to remember that this is really, really important, and that your time and your life are precious. Like the difference between this could have been a year where I felt like I was in analysis paralysis, my soul was still getting crushed under fluorescent lighting in an office, or fill in the blank, whatever that is, versus this was the year that I launched into deeper levels of understanding myself, of creating really amazing things in my life. That's a big deal. Like, let's not mince words around the importance of time in your life that you cannot get back. And even now, as we go through these massive, great shifts collectively, the understanding of what matters, the understanding of our joy, the understanding of our impact, to be in a position where you feel so much alignment with your truth that you can't help but go out in the world and make incredible things happen. Like, because, you know, all you guys are doing things that have a public outreach. Like, this isn't just happening, which is also a lot of the common denominator, not with every single one of my clients, but many of them aspire to have influence, aspire to become an entrepreneur who influences and impacts. And that means this beautiful sense of responsibility of what you get to create for other people. In everything that you share is like that spark of possibility of this is what can happen. So it's, you know, we can either leave that like hidden in a closet corner of our world, collecting a little bit of dust in a journal somewhere, or we can say, no, I'm going to figure this out and make this happen. And that's what you guys have all done. And I find so inspiring about each of your journeys and each of your sense of conviction, your sense of courage, your sense of your willingness to dive in. And I've always admired and acknowledged that in you guys so deeply, because it takes that courage to go in and say yes and be like, this may all fall apart, but I believe it won't. And I'm willing to bet on myself. So yeah.
And it's so beautiful how we now go back to, or at least I do, I go back to my journals, like even before Rock Your Life and during Rock Your Life, and it's seeing everything already happening. And I remember during our retreat that we were doing this photo shoot, I was like very emotional, and I was telling Maria Leandra, like, it's happening. It's this thing of like seeing everything come to life. And it's beautiful. One thing is to see it on paper, on like, oh, I wish one day, or I wish I could. And now is telling the story of, you know, from a point of, I created it. It happened. It's already done. I did it. And community makes part, like huge part. It's key. Like what Connie is saying, like in my case, same thing. It has played a big role during all this time. So being surrounded by people who support you and call you on your crap as well, you know, like really tell you in your face, hey, no, you get to shift, or tell you, you know, like support you and celebrate with you and be with you during your breakdown so you can get your breakthrough. And something that that we all noticed during the program, during Rock Your Life, was that, you know, if one was in breakdown, we were all there to support, holding space. And it was like a wave of, we were all celebrating at once. And then it was like a dip of like, what's going on? It was all collective, but it was a very nice and powerful container. So it's like we've moved through all these things together. And then, you know, now we tell the story of.
Now we tell the stories. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And
it's not just about saying yes once. It's about saying yes over and over again. And it's about accepting that you will fall, but you can pick yourself up and start again and try again, or try it differently. I mean, I'm more than a year into my journey as a yoga teacher, and I'm still picking myself up and getting back up again and trying again, and still having my moments of self-doubt and uncertainty. But I know that if I have taken that chance before, and yes, I may have failed, or yes, I may have struggled, but if I've done it before, I can do it again. And so it's that willingness to continue moving forward, to continue saying yes, and also being open to the fact that you will continue to learn every single day of this journey. There's always going to be a new challenge, a new thing that creeps up, and you either face it and go for it, or you let it be your roadblock. And it's just, you know, it took me, I started trying to teach you. I started setting out to become a yoga teacher and teach, like, as you know, my business, Mindful Yoga Moments, March of 2019. It took me until actually end of November, beginning of December to start getting students on a regular basis. It's a lot of months of trying and trying and trying to get a steady clientele coming to classes. And you ladies know, because you were on the calls, you saw my breakdowns. I wanted to give up so many times because I thought, I can't do this. It's too hard trying to get clients, trying to get students to come to my classes. But I just said, no, I'm going to keep saying yes. I'm going to keep saying yes. And boy, am I glad that I did, because it was so worth it. And COVID-19 has, presented some new struggles in my business, but that doesn't mean I'm just going to be like, oh, well, so much for that. I'm going to keep saying yes. I'm still trying to figure out what my next step is, but I'm going to keep saying yes because I know it is 100% worth it.
Well said. Well said. I think that's a really powerful way to wrap up our conversation with that rally cry of the leaps continue, the yeses continue. And, something else that I really believe in is that on the journey to, into entrepreneurship, self-mastery, whatever it is that you're embarking in your life, it's about that initial moment of spark and that leap. And then it's about the equilibrium and the harmony of continuing on the journey and showing up every single day. And, the days that are good, the days that are bad, the days that are in between, and holding that vision that keeps calling us forth, so that, like Jennifer, we can keep saying yes and not, not fall back into, well, that wasn't going to work anyway, because that's no longer part of your mindset. It's no longer part of your DNA. So it's beautiful. You guys, this has been beyond magically, deliciously, fireworks, sparkle, all the things. Thank you. Thank you, you guys, for joining me. Thank you for joining me in the big picture. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for honoring your truth, for taking leaps, for what you model in the world, and for saying yes to yourself so powerfully, and showing other women what's possible. I really believe that when we come together in this way, lots of incredible shifts will continue happening on Earth. So thank you, guys. And to everybody watching, thank you so much. If you watched live, hi, we love you. If you watched the replay, hi, we love you too. If you watched on YouTube, well, hello there, hi. And make sure, if you're watching outside of Rock Your Life, to come over and join Rock Your Life. It's a pretty awesome space for entrepreneurs, leaders, visionary women, so that we can make incredible things, continue to make incredible things happen in our lives. And I will leave the contact information for all these lovely ladies in the comment box here on the video. So make sure that you go follow them and see what they're up to, because they've got lots of goodies that you might find interesting for you. So thank you, ladies, so much. I love you. Danielle says, thank you, ladies. You're all inspiring. Jessica says, awesome. We love. So much love. Rock Your Life Mastermind 2019 forever. Signing off. Happy 1-year anniversary, ladies. I love you. And we'll see you next Thursday. Mwah. Bye, everyone.